I'd like to ask everyone to take pause for a moment of silence as the entire Lyons Township community continues to mourn and heal from the tragic loss of life of Kelly O'Laughlin. The meeting will come to order at 7:01 p.m.
Mrs. Hope?
Here.
Mr. Marably?
Here.
Mrs. Nelson?
Here.
Mrs. O'Halloran?
Here.
Mrs. Tugmeyer?
Here.
Mrs. Sudler?
Here. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move on this evening to our oath of office. The off my sheet, Mr. Wrigley, if you could please. I don't think you're going to remember from what I say.
That's right.
Okay. I state your name.
I, Rick Wrigley,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education
of Pleasantdale School District 107
of Pleasantdale School District 107
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States,
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the laws of the State of Illinois
and the laws of the State of Illinois
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I further swear that
I further swear that
I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets.
I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets.
I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board, while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members and others who seek a hearing before the board, while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting.
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority as an individual and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a public board meeting.
And I shall abide by majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels.
And I shall abide by majority decisions of the board while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. West. Okay. Open forum. Anyone in the audience this evening? Okay, we'll move on then to reports and discussion items. Tonight the board is convening at a special meeting to specifically discuss communication, which is board goal number 4. When I spoke with Mark yesterday, I think it was, after having gone through the goals that Mark has provided us for the past several years, I thought it might be helpful if in addition to those, we also reflected on some of the things that have been accomplished, since one of the things we talked about was maybe taking inventory of things that have been proposed over the years. So I hope that the board does not feel it was too presumptuous on my part just to ask Mark to throw together a quick PowerPoint just to give us some background information. So with that, Mark, if you could please.
Yes, I'd be happy to. Basically what I did is I took the considerable amount of information that you've been given on communications historically. I just kind of went through that and hit some of the points to try to walk you through, the last 5 years of this. And actually, if I'd gone back 6 years to the 05 or 06 school year, that would have been another communication committee that think Patty and Leander were on. So, I mean, you could keep going back and it would be kind of a similar pattern of things when you see it. So, in 06, 07, you can read the goal: improve board superintendent relations and assess status of parent-community relations. So this particular year, there was a lot of activity, kind of set a lot of the baseline data for surveys that we've done, satisfaction surveys. And the results of those, what I did is I picked out and the surveys are voluminous. I mean, they're like files full of comments and so on that the board reviewed at a time. But just to give you an idea, the things that kind of set that baseline is trying to find out how satisfied people are with various aspects related to communication. But it wasn't just communication that we were asking about. So this was one question that I extracted because it dealt with the communication issue. How satisfied are you with the quality of information, et cetera, you receive about your child's progress in school? And if you look at all those questions that are generally about the overall satisfaction about communication through the years, and I only have 2 questions because it's just too much time. But typically, you know, this is a usual pattern. We're up to, you know, between 85 and 90% satisfied. We put no opinion in there because for some people it's not a relevant question. And then, you know, here we're, you know, 9 to 15% of either unsatisfied or very unsatisfied. That tends to be a range of numbers that doesn't change no matter what year we seem to ask this. Now, here's another question. Same survey on overall satisfaction with you know, District 107. And again, 90% either satisfied or very satisfied, and less than 10% were unsatisfied or very unsatisfied. So again, if we did a survey the next year, if I would have extracted that, you would have seen, you know, so we didn't see a lot of different changes with this. The one thing we started asking about strategic planning or the work of the board, there were a lot more no opinions, you know, because people just, you know, they didn't have the interest in that. And I'll talk more about that as we go through. So that was that particular year. Now the next year, let me get this to work. Okay, gain direct community feedback on issues central to our mission and establish a long-term communication plan to inform constituents of desired board business. Okay, by June of 2008. And this involved, you know, a lot of activities. We had a town hall meeting on the topic. We had a subcommittee formed. And then we had a specific communication plan. And these are things that were done. Changes to the Friday packet policy. We spent a lot of time on what should be in the packet. Just some background on there. What was happening at that time was we had gotten feedback that the packet included so many things, that it was so voluminous of things that were just so tangential. I mean, every community agency, basically we said yes to pretty much everything. And we did a lot of research, other districts were making changes, and so we changed that to make it more that things that were relevant to our community, so it just wasn't this increasingly huge packet. And then we also received feedback about people wanting to get this more electronically. And so we began to promote that. And so anyway, there are other changes, but you get the idea. Increase to notifications for local media. We've had kind of hit or miss in terms of participation at board meetings for local media, so we had more of a uniform way to notice all the papers and so on about things that were going on. And so we increased that. We improved the community newsletter. This was a big deal here. We redesigned the website beginning in the summer of 2008, and that was a complete revamp. We, if you recall, secured the services of an external company, and really was a big change there. The board spent a lot of time about formalizing procedures for speaking during open forum, that you know, filling out the sheet to get a response, you know, those kind of things. I think we added that it could be about agenda, non-agenda items, and all of that. And then we continued with the community surveys, and you know, we've done variations of that every single year since. Okay, in 2008-09, the core team identified the communication strategy. And you can read it there. I don't need to go through that. But make a long story short, actually Mark Robley and Amy Duvall were the chairs of that, and there were people in the room that were on that committee, and spent a lot of time, a good 3 months, I think, researching. You did surveys as well.